welcome everyone to the 27th Annual Garden Brunch. We're so glad that you could all be with us.
On behalf of Sally, Charlie, and Chloe, welcome to our house. This house over 250 years has seen a lot of great events, and I think when they write the long history of the Beale Washington House, the Garden Brunch is going to be at the top of the most memorable, fun, enjoyable things that ever happened in this house. Thanks to all of you.
Journalism, to me, especially in the last 2 years, has shown itself to be this critical piece of our democracy. We have a great experiment that is at risk, frankly. We've lived through a pandemic, a racial reckoning, and now we are living through political upheaval. And to me, it is a reminder that journalists have to be holding people accountable. We have to be asking tough questions. We have to be meeting people where they are.
He is going to be charged with where so much of that hugely important money is going with our crumbling infrastructure around this country. He has an enormous responsibility. He's clearly a man who can take the job on, and I'm honored to introduce him today. Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
When I think about my time in service, the biggest thing I think about is the trust that was cultivated between people who have to trust one another with their lives, often on the strength of a salute or a handshake or a set of instructions, not knowing anything else about each other, and sometimes having nothing more in common than the flags on their shoulders. But the mission is what drives people to come together in a way that I think one hopes might rub off from the community of American veterans to the rest of us. I'm honored to present 2 awards on behalf of the White House Correspondents' Garden Brunch. First, the Courage Award. And the Courage Award goes to Lieutenant General Donna W. Martin, who now serves as the Inspector General of the United States Army, the first woman ever to serve in that role. General Martin served both in Afghanistan and in Iraq. General, we thank you for your service, in particular for your stewardship of integrity in the role that you now have. Please join me in congratulating Lieutenant General Martin on this prestigious award.
I am so incredibly honored to be this year's recipient of the Courage Award, and I'd be remiss if I didn't first recognize our nation's veterans. These men and women fulfilled their duty to this country with brave and loyal service, and it is our moral and solemn obligation to demonstrate to them our continued gratitude, unwavering support, and meaningful encouragement. I'd also like to thank and recognize the journalists present today. Your own courage to report the truth is vital to preserving this nation's democracy and ties directly to the freedom of our nation. And this is the same freedom that leads soldiers to battle and makes this nation the greatest in the world.
Next, I have the honor of presenting the Innovation Award to Bob and Lee Woodruff, co-founders of the Bob Woodruff Foundation. I still remember turning on the news and learning about Bob's injury. What a sobering reminder it was that those who report on events around the world, especially in war zones, are rendering service at enormous personal risk. After he suffered that life-threatening, traumatic brain injury while reporting on the war in Iraq, Bob and Lee have done extraordinary work on everything from mental health to employment to housing. And through this foundation have handed out more than $80 million in grants to support our veterans. So many veterans and their families have benefited from the work that Bob and Lee have done. Please join me in congratulating them on this very well-deserved award.
I just want to thank everybody who's been so supportive for these kinds of groups, for the veterans who need it. I just want to thank everybody here that have done that. And then, of course, the number one I want to thank is this woman right here, Lee.
Short and sweet, there's so many of you in this audience, the community of journalists who supported us 16 years ago. 36 days in Bethesda Naval with Bob in a coma. You brought food, you brought the love of this community. And throughout all of that and what's happening today in Ukraine, you continue to report and talk about the truth. This is the best community in the world, so thank you for that support, and we are honored to do this work for our vets.
Buy a subscription to a news outlet of your choice. Please do your own due diligence and be informed. You know, there are many stories, many narratives out there, but there really are one set of facts. May we never, ever forget that. Shake hands with a veteran. People tell me they look at veterans, but many people are afraid to shake hands. Shake hands, say hello. You know, when you're sitting there on the plane getting ready to get on and they say, all military personnel, please come to the front of the line. We should all be going right this way, ladies and gentlemen. And last but not least, I do believe that. Right this way, ladies and gentlemen. We ask that you tweet out your support to what you've seen today, and most important of all, donate to one of the causes.
We've been 2.5 years in one of the most stressful times we've had since world wars. I mean, if you look at that historically, we still got to be careful. It isn't completely over, but it certainly is going in the right direction. So we're glad to see people able to come out. They're vaccinated, they're boosted, they're tested. So it's pretty good.
It's wonderful to have a manifest experience where we can tangibly get together and celebrate their sacrifice, their hard work, and you know, giving back to them in any way possible.
Who I represent here is doing a lot to do what they can to hire veterans and military spouses. I think it's a really important cause, and really happy that we're here to share in that today.
He's my hero.
Thanks, baby.
On this card, I said thank you. You are a blessing, and we are blessed for you. My bonus son and his wife have done their tours of duty, graduated from West Point, served their country, and none of us will ever understand the kind of commitment they make in their heart to sacrifice themselves for their country.
I say God bless you, we appreciate you, and all you do for us. And, because they make the sacrifice for us to keep us safe. So, a lot of families go through hard times because they're out there protecting us. So we respect them and we love them.
I said you're special, you're brave. I thank you, I love you. I wish you only good health. Love, Fran.
This is such a special weekend that we haven't had for a couple of years, and it's a commemoration and a recognition of all that the media does, the press does, the value of the freedom of press and freedom of speech, something that we obviously recognize in this country, but at this moment in time is so important around the world.
The fourth estate, the free press, is the bedrock of a democracy. The freedom of press, the freedom of expression allows different ideas to percolate so the best ideas on behalf of our country prevail, and to also hold accountable the government to the people.
If there was ever a time to appreciate our military, our allies, and journalism, what's happening on the other side of the world isn't a war in Europe, it's a war against humanity. And the journalists who are there, recording all this, telling the stories, we need to know what's happening there. The horrors, the atrocities need to be in the history books because we cannot let this happen again. And while it might feel strange, here we are celebrating. Really, this weekend is about commitment, love, loyalty, and that is what's going to bring us together. It's that spirit of love thy neighbor that's keeping us together and getting to be with everybody after COVID or as we're making our way through COVID. It's great to be together.